program that is regional.
The Security Interest in Movable Property Act of 2019 already recognizes intangible assets, including intellectual property, as acceptable collateral. Yet, financial institutions remain hesitant. Key concerns include difficulties in valuing intellectual property, uncertainty around revenue streams, and the lack of standardized systems for registering and managing these assets. The Center for Law, Policy and Innovation Initiative, in partnership with the Africa Creatives Alliance, convened a dialogue in Kampala to discuss intellectual property-backed lending. Organizers say the discussions will culminate in the formation of a dedicated working group. This team will develop practical recommendations and pilot projects to enable creatives to leverage their intellectual property for financing.
Well, one of the critical challenges that we've seen is that financing for the sector is a difficult approach. Why? Because it does not take the traditional route that we're so used to. So financial institutions are not able to understand what does it mean to finance using your IP, for example, right? It is an intangible asset, right? What are the methodologies that go behind it? And in order to ensure that this happens, because we can have the best policies in place, but implementation is what is critical. And for us as the Africa Creatives Alliance, the delivery of the creative economy is what is critical. We have developed frameworks, 3 critical frameworks, one that looks at IP and copyright, the other that looks at creative economy and trade integration, and then creative economy governance.
Stakeholders say bridging this gap requires coordinated efforts across legal, financial and creative sectors. The roundtable conversations aim to demystify intellectual property valuation, strengthen institutional capacity, and identify policy reforms needed to operationalize intellectual property-backed lending.
IP is what we have as property. And if I've created a film, a series, that is what I have. Just like someone in real estate will have maybe land or a house as their property, so this is my property. And people, these stakeholders need to value it and know that it's actually something, and it is one is able to monetize it. So we've had these discussions. We've tried to work with partners around, and we've approached banks like UDB and some of the media partners we've talked to. They are willing to actually come in and be a go-between between us, the creatives, or like say the film sector and the bank. Because when I put my content onto this platform, I'm going to have a marketing plan, I'm going to have a proper distribution plan, and I'm going to have realistic figures of how I can have a return on investment.
IP-backed lending is such an important conversation because the financial instruments that work for other sectors are not the same, or we found do not work for the creative economy. So you now must begin to solution around the systems and the instruments that do work, and IP is one of those.
As Uganda's creative sector continues to expand, experts emphasize that the focus must now shift from theory to action-building systems that allow creatives to unlock the true economic value of their work.
The practical role government should play is to give more support to the creative economy to formalize. Because right now, you can see the biggest problem seems risk. How do I get my money back? Who is this person? Now, through the CMOs, if those are organized and people can recognize people's IP and they know they have the government de-risking as well, that would be great if government comes in to say, if this creative can't pay, we are here as a backup plan.
The discussion comes at a time when the global creative economy spanning sectors like fashion, music, film, publishing and digital innovation continues to generate billions of dollars annually. In Uganda, however, many creatives struggle to access financing despite producing valuable intellectual property.
We're actually making money. No matter how little or big it is money, and it's flowing within our hands. So it's in the best interests of the financial institutions and also us as well, right? To sort of figure out different products for us.
What creatives have mostly is data. Yes, they registered their creative work and etc. But they have the data. Someone has their Spotify, someone has their YouTube, someone can tell you this song makes this amount, someone can tell you I perform at this amount of shows per week, and that is data that we can use to lend this person money.
The success of this initiative could mark a turning point for Uganda's creative industry, offering artists and innovators new pathways to funding and growth. Joram Paul Sonko, NTV Weekend Edition.